So in my hands, I've got a brand that I've never reviewed before on my channel, so really excited to sort of test this. And the company I'm talking about is Vice Golf. Now, Vice obviously came out with a golf ball originally, had huge success with that, and now they've rolled out a lot of products throughout the whole range, clubs, irons, and everything like that. So I've got the driver to review. It looks pretty funky, some very different visuals on it, very bright shaft and grip. And I'm then going to put it up against one of the heavyweights in the driver category, the TaylorMade QI35, and see if Vice can stack up to the big brands. Okay, so before we start hitting some shots, let's have a look at the driver itself. So this model I've got is the VGD01 Plus is the name. Probably not the most catchiest names out there, but that's the model of this particular one. So this is the fast version is what Vice are saying. Ultra lightweight head, you can see lots of carbon and a very funky carbon pattern on the top, which does look very nice, to be honest. So first visuals of this, it's very sort of blacked out on the head, very sort of stealth looking. It looks quite premium. We can see that weighted plate at the back. Quite a nice sort of design face with a circular center section to that club face, which looks like it's a real sort of hot spot really, in terms of getting that sort of ball speed. So visually in that playing position, I think it's a great looking drive. It sits fantastically neutral and square at address. We've got, like I say, this carbon pattern on the crown with like a border of a matte black finish, little Vice logo there. It's quite a rounded sort of club face, to be honest. You know, it really sort of looks exaggerated on the chamfering back of the heel and the toe on that roll of the club face, but does sit very square, nice sort of shape to it. And obviously I've opted for a very visual and colourful shaft. There's a few different shaft options there. You don't have to go this colour. Obviously there's some different grip colours, but this one is pretty bright, to be fair. Okay, let's get this first one hit. Oh, that's a good strike. That's a great sound to that. Very solid sort of sound and feel to that. Yeah, strike was very nice. 2100 spin, 269 carats, so nice numbers to start off with. So the big talking point around this model is the ultra lightweight head, which is ultimately going to give us quicker club head speed and added yardage. That's the big sort of talking point around this driver. So I'm interested to see that. For myself, I feel like I'm just a bit on a decline at the moment with my club head speed. Maybe it's an age thing, I don't know, but I'm sort of just not as quick as I used to be. So interesting to see if this can squeeze me a little bit of club head speed out. A nice accurate shot, really good crack to that. That looks to be a little bit lower spin, a little bit dropping out of the sky. Yeah, 2100 again on that particular spin. Launch was a little bit lower, just dropped a touch out of the sky for me there. So when we flip the golf club over and look at the sole and see what's sort of happening at the bottom of the golf club, I think when you position the club in this position here, you can see that V there, obviously for the Vice, nice little touch. Apart from that, it's sort of quite blacked out and stealth. I've got 9 degree written there on the soles, not actually on the neck, so a little bit of a different position, but very subtly, so I've got to make sure you look for that. We've got this weight screw at the back, obviously that's going to pull some CG back in that club head into to help us probably get some forgiveness levels into this club as well. Vice logo in on the toe end of the golf club as well as on the top. So there's plenty sort of going on there. With regards to the club face, quite busy. We've got this sort of circular white design really in a way, which looks quite nice, and obviously the center section there is a matte black finish on that circle, which does look like you can get it in there. It feels like you're going to get a little bit more of that ball speed, but when you position that behind the golf ball, it just frames that ball quite nicely. You really know where the center of the golf club is in that playing position. So Vice is saying they've got a high speed club face section here, which helps obviously to get some ball speed there, but also control the spin. So even though it's a distance orientated golf club, the spin is going to be quite controlled on the lower side of things. It's a nice flight to that, it's a nice feel to that. Quite enjoying the look of that golf club, the feel off the club face. 1800 spin, so it is in that low spin category. That was a good strike as well. Probably, if anything, it's probably getting a little bit too low, where I could potentially start adding a little bit more loft to this golf club, which I will do now actually, which takes us quite nicely onto the adjustability area of the club. So as we take the shaft out of the head here and we see the hosel, there's lots of loft changes, -1, -2, standard, +1, +2. So you've got a 4-degree range of movement with the loft there. And then in the smaller tip section of it, you can see you've got lie adjustments. So standard lie, +1, +2, +3, +4. Yeah, there are only pluses there, so you can increase the lie. Now, if we increase the lie angle, more upright is what the plus is basically going to try and take the right side of the golf out for that, or miss for that right-handed golfer. So helping to sort of get the face to point a little bit more left and reduce that right miss. So a lot of options here to play around with. So I'm going to go, obviously when you change the loft, you can also change the lie. So you always got to remember this as well. So if I pop, let's say, an extra degree of loft, and that's going to make it 1 degree more upright in the lie. So that should give me maybe a little bit more launch, maybe a little bit more spin. And maybe what I also quite like is when you pop the shaft back in and tighten it and put it into position, there's no actual numbers on the ferrule of the golf club there. So it's very clean on that respect. The only maybe downside to that is you don't know what setting you've got it in, but then if you've got it in a setting, you're probably not going to be changing it, or you shouldn't be changing it too often. Okay, so extra degree of loft. Let's see if anything noticeable changes in the playing position, and it does. I can see a tiny bit more of the club face, but I can also see it slightly toed in there. That looks a little bit shut from what I've just had it at. So I think you've always got to remember when you're changing that loft, it is going to alter that lie. Okay, a little bit more flight on that. That was a touch low in the face, to be honest, and it managed to do all right. That's definitely launched a little bit higher, just moving up that right a little bit. Yeah, that's for me is a little bit of a better launch numbers. Get that launch around that 13 degrees, spin just up a little bit around that mid 2000s is always a nice little sweet spot for myself. So Vice as a brand are a direct to consumer model. So basically you will not find these sat in your nearest golf store or pro shop. So maybe the disadvantage of these direct-to-consumer brands is just the ability to actually get it in your hands, test it, try some different shafts, play around maybe on a launch monitor, so to speak. So you're going to have to sort of have a preempt on your fit. So if you know your spec, you can maybe get sort of roughly close with this. You've got some adjustability obviously the neck sleeve, so you can dial that in a little bit, but you just obviously can't try it. And maybe try it up against other brands as well in that fitting process. But on the flip side of that, the price point is a little bit more attractive, and this sells in at £379. So obviously a lot less than your big brands of drivers. And that's probably purely because they don't spend out on tour, you know, sponsorship, paying players to use the product. They're obviously more direct to consumer, so there's going to be some cost savings there, isn't there? Okay, let's hit one more shot with this driver, and then we'll move into a couple with the TaylorMade and just see how it stacks up. That's nice. A little bit more flight with that touch of loft. I mean, it's definitely low spin, is that driver. Definitely in that area. Yeah, so 2100 again on that spin. Probably maybe if you are to order one of these, maybe just play a touch more loft than what you're used to. Availability in this is a 9 degree and a 10.5. So if you don't want to go up to 10.5, you typically play a 9 degree. You're probably going to have to do what I've done there, is add that little bit of loft. But remember, it will just change that lie angle as well. Okay, so let's throw in the QI35 from TaylorMade. Obviously one of the big boys in that driver category. I'm going to run through a few shots quickly with this, and then we'll look at a couple of comparison numbers. Got the dispersion rings to kick things off here, and you can see the orange is the TaylorMade, the white is the Vice. So maybe just a consistency of shot, dispersion being a little bit tighter, probably TaylorMade just edging it. And then when we look at the all important numbers comparison wise here, you can see club head speed pretty identical as an average. Ball speed wise, you can see a little bit quicker with the Vice there at 159.6 as an average against the 158.4. Even though TaylorMade had a slightly more clubhead speed, had a little bit less ball speed. Quite an interesting difference there. Launch pretty identical. Spin a fraction lower with the vise. It is quite a low spin sort of head there, to be honest. And then you can see the distance is pretty much a yard in it. Okay, so there we go. There's the Vice Driver. Quite like that, to be honest. It's a great looking club, a little bit different. Direct to consumer. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Unfortunately, can't get hold to test it. That's my only concern with these. But then again, the price does reflect that. If you're worth having a punt at $379, then it's not a bad driver to do that. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.